The DEA in Arizona fighting against a major drug cartel, ramping up arrests and prosecution.
DEA tells me the Sinaloa cartel is one of the most infamous drug cartels in the globe. And since they've been designated a foreign terrorist organization, the DEA now has more tools to crack down.
A massive armored convoy hauling over 7 tons of drugs worth $420 million boldly stormed through the Arizona desert in broad daylight, testing the limits of America's patience. On July 12th, 19 war vehicles guarded by more than 80 ruthless gunmen thought they were invincible. Little did they know, every move they made was being tracked from the sky, every plan exposed, and a deadly trap was waiting in the canyon. Where would their arrogance lead them? One careless moment nearly destroyed everything, turning the desert into a scorching furnace. Comment number 1 and dive into the intense story of the shocking ambush, where America struck back with relentless force. Don't miss out. Watch now. At 11:12 a.m. on July 12th, the South Arizona desert quaked beneath the deafening roar of engines. Through the shimmering heat waves, a steel serpent of 19 armored vehicles sliced through the sand, their sleek black frames flashing under the relentless sun. This was no typical smuggling run. Hidden within their reinforced compartments were 7.2 tons of drugs, enough to flood an entire city, enough to rake in over $420 million on the American black market. Each vehicle was armored and armed like a war machine. The lead vehicles mounted 50 caliber machine guns, their barrels sweeping back and forth like hungry predators staking their claim. American commanders understood that if this convoy made it through, millions of fentanyl doses would soon flood the streets of Houston, New York, and Los Angeles, igniting a catastrophic wave of deaths. This wasn't merely a drug problem, it was an imminent threat to national security. The order was clear. SEAL teams would be the claws on the ground, while the U.S. Air Force controlled the skies. To prevent civilian and American casualties, the operation had to be executed with total secrecy. No trace left behind, hitting like an unexpected nightmare that no one saw coming. Inside the cabins and cargo holds, more than 80 gunmen sat with weapons draped across their chests, shouting into radios, convinced the path ahead had been cleared by cartel bosses in Mexico. The cartel's message was loud and clear. They could move boldly in broad daylight on American soil, and nothing could stand in their way. But they were gravely mistaken. Far above, hidden in the blazing sunlight, an MQ-9 Reaper drone soared at 26,000 feet, silently monitoring every movement. Its thermal sensors locked onto each searing engine block, each flickering brake light, every frantic radio transmission that reverberated across the desert. Every 8 seconds, the Reaper transmitted a data packet to the command center. GPS coordinates, speed, real-time imagery, everything meticulously tagged and cross-referenced. No detail went unnoticed. Deep within an underground command bunker, American officers sat in tense silence. Suddenly, a red message flashed across the screen. Target acquired. An officer allowed himself a small smile. Their perfect plan? Just our perfect trap. The convoy continued its relentless march, tires grinding over gravel, engines roaring off the canyon walls. The cartel gunmen were certain victory was within their grasp, convinced it was only moments away. Every detail was fed directly to the command center at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, where 12 screens displayed a real-time 3D map of the kill zone. The convoy believed they were ghosts slipping unnoticed through the sand. In truth, they were already trapped. Speed, distance, even the weight of each load had been meticulously tracked and logged with precision to the second. For the cartel, the border loomed just ahead, but for the Americans, it was already sealed. They weren't racing towards safety. They were barreling into a canyon chosen with surgical precision, where every possible escape route had been wiped out long before the first tire hit the ground. In the 7 days leading up to the ambush, SEAL recon teams silently moved along the canyon ridges, marking firing positions with infrared paint visible only through specialized goggles. Beneath the shifting sand, M18A1 Claymore mines were buried in staggered layers, their trigger wires snaking toward elevated hideouts. Seismic sensors were strategically placed to detect the slightest engine vibration from the cartel. By the time the convoy entered, the canyon had already become a trap, a deadly cage stretching 600 meters long, 40 meters high, and just wide enough for two vehicles to pass through. High above, an AC-130J Ghost Rider orbited silently, its 30mm and 105mm guns locked onto targets, laser-guided rounds ready in the bay. On the ridges, 160 SEAL operators lay flat, rifles steady, scopes glowing green in the scorching Arizona heat. Every detail had been meticulously calculated. The choke point, the timing, the firing angles. But then, the plan nearly unraveled. At 11:23 a.m., as the first three vehicles crossed the seismic line, a Claymore mine circuit malfunctioned, failing to activate. A red warning flashed on the UAV feed at the command center. At the same time, a gunman in the second vehicle caught sight of something odd. A glint on the cliff face, sunlight gleaming off the barrel of a suppressed rifle. His voice cracked over the radio, shouting in frantic Spanish. In that instant, everything teetered on the edge. If the alarm spread, 19 vehicles and over 80 gunmen would unleash a barrage of bullets into the canyon, turning the SEALs' carefully planned ambush into their own deadly trap. Just inches from the malfunctioning trigger circuit, a SEAL crawled forward under the blistering sun. With steady hands, he reconnected the circuit, activating it just moments before the cartel's suspicion turned into action. The glint vanished. The warning signal died. The trap snapped shut once more. The kill zone remained impenetrable. At 11:29 a.m., the canyon consumed the convoy. Each armored vehicle slithered into the narrow stone throat, steel tires grinding over gravel. On the command screens at Davis Monthan, red dots aligned with deadly precision. The snake was now trapped in its cage. Hold! Hold steady! The first explosion tore through the stillness. M1801 Claymore mines erupted like thunder, showering the lead vehicles with thousands of steel balls. Tires were shredded in an instant. Windshields shattered. Two gunners manning 50 caliber machine guns were violently ripped from their mounts, their bodies thrown like broken dolls into the dust. The echoes of the initial blast still rang as the night weapons, chosen for daylight, descended. From 10,000 feet, the AC-130J Ghost Rider unleashed its 30mm Bushmaster, and rounds rained down like molten fire, piercing armor, shattering cabins, and turning steel into flames. Chaos exploded in all directions. Cartel gunmen scrambled from the cargo holds, some firing blindly at the cliffs, others diving into dry gullies, choking on the thick smoke and dust. But the cliffs erupted in return fire. 160 SEAL operators opened fire in perfect harmony. M4A1 rifles cracked with suppressed precision. Scar H rounds tore through armored doors. Every spark from below was met with three more from above, relentless and unforgiving. At the rear, a pickup truck slammed into the vehicle behind it, trying to reverse. Engines roared, metal twisted, but the escape route was gone. From above, the shriek of a laser-guided round cut through the air. It struck the weapons truck in the heart of the convoy, setting off a vicious chain reaction. The explosion detonated through the canyon, engulfing three vehicles in a single hellish blast. Flames shot 40 feet into the air, scorching the rock and forcing the SEALs to duck lower in their firing positions. A small group of gunmen tried to regroup, hauling an RPG-7 launcher onto the roof of a Ford. The launcher quivered as it aimed at the ridge, but before it could fire, a 7.62mm round from an MP7 ripped through the shooter's shoulder, sending him tumbling into the dust. The errant round exploded at their feet. The blast killed three instantly, sending flaming shrapnel scattering across the ground. The canyon was no longer a road, it had transformed into a furnace. In just 7 minutes, half the convoy was reduced to smoldering wreckage. Screams blended with the relentless staccato of automatic gunfire and the hiss of burning drugs leaking from ruptured containers. What had started as a brazen daylight assault had devolved into a slaughterhouse of sand and steel. The trap was sealed, with no way out. The battle intensified. Follow to see what happens next. Do you support this war to eradicate the cartel? If yes, comment number 2. If not, comment number 5. At 11:36 a.m., the canyon transformed into a killing ground. Flames and smoke billowed into the sky, a black column blotting out the sun. The acrid stench of burning drugs, chemicals, and diesel fused into a suffocating haze. What had once been a convoy of arrogant defiance was now a shattered battlefield. Cartel gunmen scattered in frantic desperation. Some attempted to climb the rocky slopes, fingers scraping against the cliffs, only to be picked off by snipers perched high above. Others took cover behind vehicle wrecks, blindly firing AK-47s at the ridges. But every muzzle flash painted a target. Two SEAL snipers with MK-13 Mod 7 rifles dropped them one by one, their rounds striking with deadly precision from over 800 meters. The Ghost Rider roared once more from above. Its 105mm cannon erupted in a thunderous blast, the shockwave rattling the canyon floor. One single round turned the cartel's command vehicle into a fiery crater, killing at least 9 in an instant. The aircraft pivoted effortlessly, unleashing a barrage of 30mm rounds to pin down any remaining survivors. By now, 12 of the 19 vehicles were either burning or completely immobilized. Steel twisted, tires shredded, and glass shards scattered like ice. The temperature near the wrecks soared past 120 degrees Fahrenheit, forcing cartel gunmen to abandon their cover and run into the open. None made it more than 10 steps. Amid the chaos, a cartel lieutenant made a desperate attempt to break through. He jumped into a Ford Raptor mid-convoy, slammed the gas pedal to the floor, and plowed through the wreckage. The truck roared, flames trailing behind it. For a brief moment, it seemed like he might escape. But then, a Reaper drone silently circled overhead, releasing an AGM-114 Hellfire missile. The strike was immediate, an explosion so fierce it vaporized the Raptor, leaving nothing behind but a smoking crater and shrapnel raining down like bullets. Resistance faltered with every passing second. Gunmen fired pistols and shotguns in a futile attempt to fight back, their weapons no match for the overwhelming power from both air and ground. A SEAL team advanced from the eastern ridge, moving with deadly precision. Suppressed barrels flashed as they swept through the canyon, each short, controlled burst dropping a target with ruthless efficiency. By 11:47 a.m., just 18 minutes after the first explosion, the canyon was unrecognizable. Over 40 cartel gunmen lay dead, their bodies scattered amidst the burning wreckage. 6 more vehicles detonated in secondary explosions, sending drugs into fiery, toxic balls that transformed sand into glass. The battle had devolved into a slaughter. The steel serpent, once roaring with arrogance, was now a charred skeleton, its twisted limbs scattered across the desert, surrounded by plumes of black smoke. At 12:02 p.m., the desert fell into an eerie silence. The last burst of gunfire faded into the smoke, leaving only the crackle of burning steel. The canyon floor, once alive with the roar of 19 armored vehicles, now lay like a junkyard graveyard. Flames flickered along shattered cabins, pools of melted rubber seeping into the scorched earth. The air was thick with the acrid stench of chemicals, and tons of drugs had been reduced to ash. SEAL Team 6 moved cautiously through the wreckage, rifles sweeping left and right, methodically neutralizing the last pockets of resistance. Orders were passed in clipped whispers. Any gunman still armed was eliminated without hesitation. Those who surrendered were swiftly bound on their hands zip-tied, faces pressed into the scorching sand. When the U.S. Air Force commander pointed at the screen and declared, "We don't need a scalpel, we need a sledgehammer," he voiced the pain of millions of Americans who had lost loved ones to fentanyl, a drug that claimed over 100,000 lives each year. The decision to strike wasn't born from anger, but from cold, calculated precision and unwavering discipline. 6 months of reconnaissance, coordination across 20 agencies, hundreds of hours spent on tactical simulations. Every detail was meticulously planned. In the end, SEALs and the U.S. Air Force obliterated the cartel's invincible convoy. No mistakes, no civilian casualties, no warning. As the smoke lifted, the toll became clear. 53 cartel gunmen dead, 27 captured alive. All 19 vehicles either destroyed or seized. Cold numbers, only war can produce them. Of the 80 who crossed the border that fateful morning, Not a single one escaped. The confiscated haul was staggering. Over 7.2 tons of drugs, valued at more than $420 million. A convoy capable of poisoning an entire city. DEA agents arrived after the battle, methodically cataloging each container, sealing every sample. Mobile floodlights illuminated the canyon like a stage, casting light on charred vehicle frames, scattered shell casings, and smoldering contraband. American casualties were virtually non-existent. Not a single American was killed. Only 2 SEAL operators sustained minor injuries, one from shattered glass, the other from shrapnel, both swiftly evacuated by an HH-60W rescue helicopter. In the face of the destruction below, it felt like a miracle. By 12:18 p.m., the ceasefire was confirmed. The AC-130J departed, its mission complete. The Reaper drone climbed back to altitude, continuing surveillance as reinforcements secured the perimeter. At the Davis-Monthan Command Center, the final tally flashed across 12 screens. 53 dead, 27 captured, 19 vehicles neutralized. No American losses. For the cartel, the canyon was supposed to be a path to profit. Instead, it became their grave. For America, this wasn't just a tactical victory, it was a statement. A warning that no matter how bold or reckless, any force that crosses the line will face overwhelming retaliation. As the midday sun beat down on the smoldering wreckage, the message was unmistakable. America doesn't just strike back. America obliterates. The ambush on the 12th of July in the Arizona desert wasn't just a battle against a cartel convoy. It was a powerful demonstration of what happens when America chooses patience over haste, precision over chaos. Ammunition trucks erupted in spectacular fireballs, leaving blackened craters where the convoy had once moved. Fuel carriers burned steadily, thick columns of smoke rising into the dawn sky. Survivors fled on foot into the dunes, scattered and leaderless. Some surrendered, while others discarded their weapons and disappeared into the desert. The once invincible convoy was erased without a trace. On the American side, casualties were negligible. The defensive net, combined with precise strikes and overwhelming firepower, halted the assault before it could even get close. From the first seismic sensor signal to the final shot fired by the Ghost Rider, every move was calculated to the meter, to the second. The near disaster of a faulty trigger circuit and the growing suspicion within the convoy only made the outcome more profound. Even when perfection faltered, American forces adapted within seconds, proving why they are the world's most dangerous and disciplined. The final tally told an undeniable truth. 53 cartel gunmen dead, 27 captured alive, 19 vehicles neutralized, and over 7.2 tons of drugs seized. Not a single American lost. A warning that anyone daring to call their plan perfect when facing America will meet one inevitable outcome: a perfect trap. The story of the cartel's defeat quickly became a vivid testament to the stark difference between illusion and reality. The cartel was utterly convinced their plan was flawless. 19 war vehicles, over 80 heavily armed gunmen, a meticulously calculated route, and a safe patrol window. But in a fleeting moment, it all turned into ash. The MQ-9 Reaper, silent at 7,000 meters with infrared sensors transmitting data every 8 seconds, exposed the entire perfect plan. The SEAL team, having patiently waited in the mountains for 36 hours with claymores, sniper rifles, and other weapons, transformed the Arizona desert into a death box. These details aren't just technical descriptions, they are a declaration. America relies not only on firepower, but on intelligence, discipline, and absolute coordination. Instead, the desert proved the opposite. Precision, planning, and cutting-edge technology turned their might into chaos, and chaos into ruin. What they believed was a display of strength became their greatest defeat. For Washington, the operation was a confirmation. SEAL forces and the Air Force executed flawlessly, proving that American forces could annihilate even the most formidable armored threats in a matter of hours. For the cartel, it was a stark warning that no amount of numbers or reckless assaults could ever withstand the power of modern firepower. The capture of key lieutenants and the destruction of hundreds of millions of dollars in cartel goods dealt a crippling blow to their network. For the cartel, the myth of invincibility at the border shattered in less than 30 minutes. For America, it was proof that true power doesn't lie in firing first, but in waiting for the perfect moment, striking with such speed and force that the enemy has no chance to respond. This ambush will be studied in tactical manuals for years to come, a textbook example of intelligence, coordination, and overwhelming firepower. The surviving stragglers carried that message with them. As daylight spread across the desert, it revealed the true scale of the victory. Black smoke rose in thick columns, visible for miles. Scattered survivors stumbled through the dunes, hunted by patrolling drones. American units stood firm, armored vehicles aligned in formation, weapons poised for any subsequent fight. The battlefield was theirs. The convoy was gone. The message to the world was unmistakable. This wasn't just a skirmish. It was a demonstration. Against overwhelming planning, precision, and coordination, no force relying on chaos could survive. The desert had spoken, and its message was final. Try once and there won't be a second chance. The Arizona Desert Ambush delivers a profound lesson. Meticulous preparation and discipline are the keys to overcoming seemingly insurmountable challenges. No matter how formidable or confident the adversary, like the cartel convoy with 19 armored vehicles and over 80 gunmen, the precise coordination, sharp intelligence, and rapid adaptability of elite American forces transformed arrogance into catastrophe. This lesson reminds us that true strength lies in patience, strategy, and decisive action at the perfect moment. Not just a resounding victory, but a steel-clad warning. Cross America's line and you'll face unrelenting force. But what do you think? Did the cartel truly anticipate the cost of their arrogance? Do you believe ambushes like this could shift the course of the war on drugs? Leave a comment below, share your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to catch more thrilling stories. Together, we'll uncover the secrets behind these victories.